Welcome to the home of Škoda and welcome back to the channel where we are looking at the brand new revised version of the Škoda Enyaq RS. But I missed the trip with the facelift Enyaq at the end of last year, so let me just give you a little bit of an overview as to where we are in 2025 with this car in Ireland. Sales compared to last year are down 15%, and it's not often you're talking about sales going down with Škoda in Ireland because you know how much we love them. And I'm just wondering, are people waiting for this facelift version to arrive on our shores? And it's going to be any day soon. And now is possibly never a better time to want to buy a new Enyaq, not just the RS version, just an Enyaq in general, because it's become even more affordable. The price is starting for the 60 battery at just over €43,000. That is a bit of a drop, and the walk to the larger battery is about €2,000. So still, for €45,000, you can now get a new Enyaq in Ireland. Now, some of the changes on the front of the car will be applicable for the RS and the new facelift version of it. So the tech deck face has changed how the look of the car stands. The main difference for this RS version versus the standard is the matrix headlights will be a standard on the RS version of the car. The Mamba Green colour still stays, which looks really, really striking. Please be brave and get your RS in Mamba. It looks absolutely wonderful, and trust me, someone will want to buy it next time when you're finished with it because it's a Mamba Green RS. Some of the other new details on the car, so the lower part of the grille here effectively has slightly changed, and these little claw areas have also changed on the car. But the main difference, apart from software and some of the tech stuff and the charging speed, which we'll get into in this review, the main difference is on the front of the car. Now, just to sweep over here to this grey version of the Enyaq, if you want to be a little bit more discreet, this is the Enyaq Coupe version, so you lose 15 litres on the boot and maybe 7 or 8 kilometres in range. The WLTP tests have not been fully finalised yet, but you're talking, tiny hairs in the difference. So if you prefer the style of the Coupe over the regular SUV, you can still get the Enyaq and Enyaq RS in this version. But it has to be said, this is the version that sells in higher volumes at home in Ireland. No huge surprises on the side of the car. It still identifies as an Enyaq and an Enyaq RS. Some details here: the RS badging is on the front wing of the car. There's no RS badge on the rear anymore. These are specific Bridgestone tyres for this model of car. We're seeing this coming in more and more with EVs. The new Tesla Model Y has got a specific tyre from Michelin, and when you match the car from the manufacturer with the tyre that they've worked with the tyre provider with, you generally get a more comfortable ride. This version is a little bit lower than the standard version of the car, and it's not standard to get DCC on it in Irish markets at least, but if you do get DCC, the car is slightly tweaked again, but the suspension is tweaked versus a standard Enyaq, and it's also tweaked versus the previous version of the RS. So they're some of the most significant changes. The aero covers can pop off on the wheel, but if you leave them on, you're going to get this little green strip that matches the Mamba colour of the car. It's not going to match every colour, but it will match the Mamba. And I just noticed today, because it's my job, that these little dust caps on the car were different. And I was like, are they for the RS? Now, they are an aftermarket accessory that you can get in your Škoda dealer, and you'd probably want to glue them on so no one nicks them. But they do look really, really cool. I think it's a nice little touch on the side of the car. I know it's only going to be in an RS anorak who wants these, but they're still cool. Still going to get all the black trim around the doors, the wing mirror, and the roof rails if you like your camping and your roof boxes. I've got bad news. There's only one umbrella. I knew this day would come. There's one umbrella in the Enyaq RS. Accountants. I knew this was going to happen. But it's not technically true. So if you come around to the other side of the car in this RS, now this may not be in every market, and we probably won't need these in Ireland for snow at least, but if you have dandruff, you can now scrape it off yourself with this little brush that comes in the other side of the car. But the idea of it is actually for snow. So if you have a snowy windscreen, you can do this and you can brush the snow off. Not something we're going to have too many problems with in Ireland, but depending on your market, you might have that. Accountants, I'm sorry for blaming you. Another handy new feature for this revised version of the Enyaq is the fact that you can walk up to the car and walk away from the car, and if the key is in your pocket, it will just open and lock for you. The same feature that you use to essentially use the virtual pedal to open the boot also works. On the SUV version of the car versus the Coupe, you get 585 litre boot. It's 570 in the back. It's still a Skoda boot. It's not exactly small, but just to be aware of that different compromise if you are going for one particular version over the other. These are, like, we've seen these before, but there's just little changes every so often. So we now get this nice new Skoda lettering and logo on it somewhere for the Type 2 charging cable, because there's no frunk up there, but it does tuck beautifully into the side of the car. All the little snazzy snap-on bits, the QR code, the flexible parcel shelf, and all the space you'd ever need, as well as a flat loading area, and then more space down below for some more cables. If you want to bring your granny cable with you, there's a couple of cargo nets. You won't be able to actually drop that floor, so to speak, but you still are dealing with tons and tons of space. Not on the standard version of the car, but the RS version now comes with a reflector in the lower part of the car. Not really sure the reason. Obviously all cars can benefit from a reflector on the side of a dark road, but it breaks up the difference of the color. And again, it's very evident with the Mamba, the black and the red, but the rear lights still look classically Skoda, and they've even thrown in a wiper. One difference in the RS now is with the different leather seats, you can get air-cooled seats. So if you have really sticky hot days, you might want those seats. I'm going to give you a look at them in just a second, but these are the standard RS seats, complete with the Mamba piping. There is a more subdued color tone. Again, if this is just too much for you, stay with me, that is coming. On all versions of the Enyaq now, the slowest charging speed is 165 kilowatt. The larger battery gets 175, but the RS gets 185. It also has the highest towing capacity of any Enyaq at 1,400 kilograms braked. The entry versions are 1,000 and the X version is 1,200. So that might be a reason why you actually want the faster, flashier Enyaq, for practical reasons too. You can have a chat at home and go, yeah, I was thinking we can get the RS because we can tow more stuff, you know. So best luck with that argument. Everything else inside the car just feels very, very similar to what we have seen in also the updated version of the Enyaq, but also the Enyaq that we've known since 2021 or thereabouts. We're on 5.4, I think, versions of software now. Software is an awful lot better in the VW Group cars at this stage. There's still plenty of physical buttons down here and all the Skoda practical stuff. So armrest with loads of space down here, some drinks holders, you can pull things out and put cards into them. There is still the clip for your parking ticket. It seems to be a victim of those accountants. The USB-C charging port around the mirror has disappeared. There's also battery preconditioning now in the cars, so if you do want to get to that really fast charging speed, you can override it or use the nav to get to that charging speed. And there's now the Power Pass map, so there's no more using cards, RF cards, apps. You basically set up your Skoda, your payment details goes into it, and every time you plug in, it's working on ESB at home, Ionity as far as I know, and the Power Pass map will basically communicate with the charger and do all the paying bits for you, so you don't need to do any more of that messing. RS specific details, the RS trim for the steering wheel with the perforations here as well. And let's take a little look now at the more laid back version of the interior if you're interested in it. If you had an original Octavia RS, you're probably too old for Mamba Green, or maybe you're not, I don't know, but Skoda are giving the option. So you have two different trims. You have RS Lounge and RS Suite. And this version still has some piping, but it's a lot more subtle. It's just kind of light grey with this leatherette material. This is the one where you can get the air-cooled seats as well as heated seats. That part comes as standard. The air-cool is on this version. But maybe you prefer the Alcantara, and that will come with that. You can get both versions on any colour combination of the car. You're not restricted to one or the other. Panoramic glass roof doesn't quite come over the head, but the idea of that is there's a little cutout in the headline that give you a bit more head space if you are a taller rear passenger. Look at this detail. So the mats now also have that Mamba Green piping around. I don't think that was there before. There might have been some sort of RS on the sides, but I think that's new. Still an armrest with some drinks holders. They have left the device holder that you get in the new Skoda Superb, for example, out of this. A little bit strange, definitely a family car. There's also access to the boot with that additional hatch area down here. These are accessories and as part of a pack, but the phone and device holders can clip on here. You can stick a phone in landscape and portrait, clip onto the back of the driver's seat. And again, depending on pack and possibly standard, in the RS version, you get these blinds. There's lovely resistance on them. It feels high quality. I could do that all day long, but you don't have time and neither do I. It's school run fun decision time for the Enyaq RS. Would you go for the Coupe or would you like to keep it original and go for the SUV? At the time of filming, Škoda Ireland have done 0% finance deals on this car. They really are putting their best foot forward. What I think is interesting is across Europe and in certain regions, take Germany for example, there was months last year that this was the best-selling car in Europe. In Škoda's home in the Czech Republic, this is currently the best-selling car. So for a model that's been around for 4 to 5 years, that is no mean feat to be able to do that. The tweaks have probably refreshed it enough as well, and certainly the prices in Ireland very long overdue in terms of talking about EV prices coming down. So that is going to be welcome news. €45,000 for the bigger battery. Now the prices for the RS haven't been announced just yet. For context, the Enyaq RS, another trip I couldn't go on, is about €54,000 for that version. Now there's still a lot of power and it's a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter than the Enyaq. There's another problem in that the ID4 GTX is €51,000 and this price hasn't been announced yet. Now there is definitely a case that this is a kind of a sexier offering. The GTX has got more power than a standard ID4, but really there's not a huge amount of differences. You can't get a Mamba Green colour, you don't get RS badges, so it's not a direct comparison, but just brake horsepower and powertrain for powertrain, there is that comparison also. But let me know what you think of this new update to the Enyaq RS, a car with 335 brake horsepower that you probably wouldn't realise to look at it. A little over 5 seconds to 60, and now hopefully more affordable than ever. Thank you very much for coming with me this far in the video today. Leave your comments and thoughts on the new RS in the video description down below, and I'll see you next time.